This year marks the 25th anniversary of the first diagnosis of AIDS. Back then, HIV was a death sentence, with the virus spreading mostly among gay white men. Today, prevention efforts have significantly reduced infection rates, with some disturbing exceptions. New studies show that HIV cases are actually increasing at alarming rates in African American and Latino communities. AIDS is now the leading cause of death for African American women ages 25 to 34. We met Diane Williams, who has been living with HIV for nearly half her life. The story of how she contracted HIV is unfortunately all too familiar.
I couldn't believe that it could happen, it was something that could happen to me.
Diane told us she came from a large traditional family. She never strayed from the conservative values instilled by her parents.
No, I never did any drugs, no beer, smoking, or anything. And
complete healthy lifestyle.
Yes, completely healthy, normal lifestyle.
Diane contracted HIV during a 4-year relationship with a man who was secretly involved in risky behaviors. Her shocking discovery came with the birth of her 3rd child.
And she couldn't get her shot, so I decided to take her to a hospital. And they asked us did we want to get tested, and we said fine. And that's when they told us that she had AIDS. They didn't even say that she had HIV. She said she just had AIDS. I was scared. I was lost. I lost my child. I had 2 other children that I really was scared to get to know because I thought I was going to die. And I was angry. I was angry at him because he didn't tell me. He didn't give me a choice. And that was hurting me. And
why didn't he tell you?
I have no idea. He was scared. I guess he was scared that he was going to lose me or whatever his reason was. And he just didn't tell me. He just didn't tell me.
Ophelia Barrios of the Harlem Directors Group is concerned with the lack of communication between partners about HIV.
When you talk about women of color, we often think that because we're married or we're in a long-term relationship, that we are no longer at risk. Yet in fact, we know that most women are getting infected through heterosexual transmission, meaning at some point, whatever man they're with, be it their husband or their long-term partner, is what's placing them at risk.
Oh, okay.
Diane is an executive assistant at an AIDS service organization called Housing Works. Daily job tasks are a struggle as a result of HIV medication.
I have a lot of things else going with me, my pressure, sugar, that's things that developed, and I have like side effects of the meds, like I have a buffalo hump in my back and my stomach, and it's like body changing I went through.
Okay. Would you mind?
Oh, okay. Just a hump, you see the hump?
Yeah.
The hump in the back.
Does that hurt?
No, it's just fat. It's just fat.
And that's a result of the
medication.
Heartbreaking stories like Diane's are all too common among African American and Latino women. HIV advocates are dissatisfied with the government's approach and are speaking out. Charles King is the CEO of Housing Works and a leading AIDS activist.
Most Americans would be astonished by the fact that 25 years into this epidemic, we still do not have a national plan to end it. The proverbs say, where there is no vision, the people perish, and this is clearly an example of the truth behind that proverb.
If you look at how many people are getting infected, and especially people of color and women of color, then you have to sit back and say, we have the same rates of infection as other countries in Latin America and Africa, and yet it is in our backyard.
HIV activists believe that solutions exist, but have not been properly implemented.
The countries that have been effective in reducing transmission of HIV and AIDS have been effective because they've been willing to deal honestly, forthrightly, and in a way that is non-judgmental with both drug use and people's sex lives.
The efforts to really talk about HIV prevention in the streets, the distribution of HIV information, distribution of condoms, referrals to testing sites, for example, providing them from a community perspective the ability to get access to information as to what is HIV and how to protect themselves.
Hope has a different meaning for Diane Williams. Her plans for the future reflect the reality of living with HIV.
I feel like tomorrow is not promised to me. I could get sick the next day. And you know, I don't really have no, I'm not saying I have no hopes and dreams, but I learned to take one day at a time because it's kind of scary every day. You know, just waking up and knowing that I could be productive and I don't know if I'm gonna wake up sick or not feeling well. It's just like, I just take one day at a time.
If you have ever done some serious channel surfing, you might have stumbled upon your local public access channels, featuring the bizarre, the educational, and everything in between. Since 1970, these stations have served those who have a need to shock, entertain, or educate people in their communities. Public access television has allowed the average person to exercise their freedom of expression to the fullest and transmit it to a TV near you. However, this vehicle of free speech may soon run out of gas thanks to a bill that would cut funding for public access stations across America. This has raised a serious concern for those outspoken in their communities. What will be lost? Take a look.
Good evening, I'm Sid Grant.
And I'm BB.
And we're here this evening to demonstrate the Argentine tango.
With a nip and a tuck and a nip and a tuck and a nip and a...
Okay, it's on, guys. It's on.
Juvenile justice works.
Not all public access television is about wacky comedy and offbeat characters. It also airs programming rich in educational, political, and informative content. But what more does public access television offer the community? Carlos Pareja, training manager at Brooklyn Community Access Television, explains. And can you give me a definition of what public access is?
Public access, if I could be somewhat general in the terms, I see it as free speech on the television airwaves. I mean, I see it as a way for regular people to participate in discussion, talking on the most powerful communication system that we have currently, which is television. So that's what I see public access as. I see it as a way of community people participating in creating television and through disseminating their ideas via the local channels. So I see it very much as something that's embodied in our Constitution, in our Bill of Rights, that the people do have a space where they can communicate with other people, with people in their community, or even people beyond their community. And that's what I see public access doing.
While public access TV is an important medium for the community, we wanted to find out how many people really watch public access TV. We went to the streets of New York to find the answer.
Do you guys watch public access television?
I do not watch public access television because there are better things on.
Not really? ¿Usted mira estaciones de acceso público? No?
No, I don't.
No, I don't see that. Why?
No.
No?
Do you know what public access television is?
Yes, where the public get access to certain news and stories that the regular news don't show.
Do you know what public access television is?
What's that?
Public access television.
Public access television? Yeah, I know Eminem.
Eminem? Yeah.
The guy singer?
But if you guys have watched, you think public access television is important to the community?
Yeah, it's definitely could be a great asset used
Yeah.
properly.
It's always good to have public expression that's not controlled.
Will you miss it if it goes away?
Yes.
I mean, it's better to have it because not everyone can buy cable and stuff like that. So I'm sure some people really enjoy it.
I agree.
All right.
Just because
we don't watch it doesn't mean it's not good.
Yeah.
Kind of low budget. They need better programs on here. I'm tired of seeing people shake their rumps all day.
Cynthia Calderon is a director for Youth Channel at Manhattan Neighborhood Network Station. She explains to us that public access is not a station that just shows raunchy shows.
I would say to them that that's a really ignorant thing to say, because if you see on all of our other, I think you have to understand what public access is. We don't censor our submissions, but we also provide support for all of our community organizations. So you have shows from Teen Talk, you have shows like council members coming on and talking about their communities, talking about different legislation. You have so much other vital programming that's a crucial part of our community.
Local community members have used public access television to make a difference in their communities. We spoke to Iris Clear Butrich, a contributing producer for MNN, known for her trademark hats. According to Iris, the construction on the Williamsburg Bridge was causing lead particles to fall on school grounds and the neighborhood right below the bridge. She brought the attention of the authorities by exposing this issue on an investigative documentary. What could you do through your show to bring this out in the public eye so people could be aware of the situation?
I saw the newspapers were hardly even reporting it. And I shot the bridge.
You shot them sandblasting.
I shot them sandblasting.
She exposed how this issue was affecting the children in the community.
There was a lady on this show who had a child who had a heart attack at 5 years old.
Public access stations are now concerned that they may no longer be able to serve their community. By law, cable companies are required to give a small percentage of their revenues directly toward local public access stations. How does the COPE Act threaten these local stations?
This COPE bill, what they're trying to do is they're trying to nationalize this franchise or create statewide franchises. We here in Brooklyn have a local franchise that we have gone into arbitration, into these discussions to decide what are our needs here in Brooklyn. So this sense of one size fits all cookie cutter scheme of a franchise is not going to fulfill the needs that we have, the particular needs that we have here in Brooklyn. Okay. Right. So that is where we see the threat, because we keep on talking about our diverse, large population here, but our needs here are going to be certainly different than the needs in smaller municipalities across the country. They might be fine with one access channel with very limited resources in terms of a facility. They might not have. They might just have playback, meaning that people just drop off a tape. That might be all they need in that community. But we here in Brooklyn need more and have demanded and asked for and gotten more from the cable providers here.
What will happen to public access television if the Senate passes the COPE Act this summer? The future of the medium is uncertain, and while public access television is not the most prominent media outlet, it has allowed average citizens to broadcast their voice to their communities.
You know, a character like you could have a show in there, you know that, right? Really? Yeah. It's public access. Anybody can put a show in there.